Hello and welcome, my name is dragondrop and this is the joinDOTA League. And this is my first official broadcast from actually in-game, so if you're listening to me there, welcome, thanks for choosing me as your preferred broadcaster for this game between Euphoria and Osliki Gaming. We are in the second division of Europe, subgroup number 1, and this is actually game number 2 of this particular matchup. But don't be afraid, you haven't missed anything today. And before we go ahead, I'll just actually turn up the sound again. There we go. You haven't missed anything today. They actually played the first game at some other time and then obviously had to reschedule this second game. So Osliki Game is actually one game ahead. So we'll see whether Euphoria is able to get back and turn it into a 1-1. And they really want to do that because right now Euphoria is sitting at 4 and 6 in the standings. Osliki Gaming sitting in the middle of the pack at 6 and 6. So both teams will want to make this game count here as we see the draft going on in full force. Euphoria first picking the Dazzle, really strong support and obnoxious to deal with. If he's in position to get a Shell Grave off, well, that's your gank attempt thrown out of the window and a good opportunity for a counter gank. Storm Spirit also picked up to be able to initiate and go in the back lines. Maybe get the jump on the Bat Rider if he's looking to initiate. But Osliki Gaming with a very stable draft so far as well. The Visage a really strong support. You can go aggressive with him, you can go defensive. He offers a slow and a nuke early on, and Familiars later are universally useful for DPS, for crowd control because of the stun that they have, or just for scouting, lane pushing, what have you. They also pick up the Viper. We'll see what, where he wants to end up. Might be the Farmer, might go into the middle against the Storm Spirit, and Viper is actually not the worst hero against Storm because if Storm uses his Remnant CS primarily, then Viper will be able to get that poison attack off on him. And that is not something that you want to have happen as a Storm Spirit. Because early on that poison is actually really hard to deal with. Bat Rider will probably go into the offlane, get some early levels and then transition into the jungle to get a fast blink day up. That's usually what we see Bat Riders do. And yeah, with the Viper, as I said, it might be the Farmer, but that would mean that it would be an aggressive trialing coming out of Osliki. With Visage, that's definitely possible. The reason I say that is because with the Viper, you usually want to have a solo lane, so if Osliki wants to draft an aggressive tri-lane, it would put the Viper in a solo safe against whoever Euphoria elects to send in there. Then the Bat Rider in the mid. Who knows? Well, let's just say how the draft develops. Very open so far. Lifestealer now picked up together with the Storm Spirit. A little bit surprised that Osliki didn't ban it out because that's the most popular combo that you can possibly imagine together with the Lifestealer, the Storm Spirit with that unparalleled ability to just get into the fights, infest bomb, blow someone up, then get out if possible. And Lifestealer of course has the rage to fall back on if that happens, if they need to get out quickly. And they also have Dazzle, so Storm Spirit, Lifestealer go in, blow someone up, then Dazzle can close the distance and save the Lifestealer if necessary. Shadow Shaman now picked up from Osliki Gaming. That adds some much needed crowd control. Very good pickup, but slightly greedy. He doesn't do too much at the first levels. Really want a couple of levels up into him. But if they do manage to get away from it, get away with it, then the Shadow Shaman will be able to push towers down really quickly, just once he hits level 6 by virtue of the Serpent Wards. And yeah, if Osliki pick up another aggressive carry that can go with a tri-lane, then they might really go aggressive here against the Lifestealer Dazzle. Juggernaut, I would imagine, would be in the offlane.
10 seconds to go.
Euphoria really thinking about the last ban because something like a Luna would work well for Osliki. Someone that you can put together with the Visage and the Shadow Shaman in a tri-lane, and that does enough to help those out. They banned the Mirana though. Another A fairly common tri-lane hero. And with the Shadow Shaman Shackles, they would have a good setup for the arrow, so... Clever ban from Euphoria, but that of course leaves the Luna open to be picked. Let's see what they want to pick up here. Maybe they want to get something like a Bristleback. Just a tanky frontline hero. It works also quite well in aggressive tri-lanes. And can dish out a lot of damage if you happen to...
Reserve time.
Against the Quilt Sprays too often, and against the Lifesteal Quilt Sprays being physical damage, of course. It's not the worst choice, but they do pick up the Drow Ranger, okay.
Radiant's pick.
So this will be the farming carrier. It would be a Viper in a mid, and Batrider in a solo lane. I would imagine they could put the Batrider mid just as well, but with Viper having such an advantage against the Storm Spirit, I wouldn't think that would happen, so... Yeah, Osliki can go either way. They can go defensive with the Drow Ranger, or they can go aggressive.
10 seconds to go.
Now, last pickup for Euphoria. They're looking for another support, and they get the Silencer. Oh, that's a really nice pickup here. But again, a little bit greedy. But if he manages to time his silencers right, then a Batrider initiation can be botched. Visage is practically useless for a couple of seconds, as well as the Shadow Shaman. Mostly Shadow Shaman, honestly. I mean, Viper will still be able to right-click, and Drow Ranger obviously will be able to do that too. But Drow Ranger won't be able to use the Frost Arrows, won't be able to use the Silence. So, that's a lot on that Silencer to provide control in these later team fights. But yeah, together with the Storm Spirit initiation, they can do an Infest Bomb, blow someone up, and then have little fear of being engaged upon if the global silence is there. So we'll see how that pans out. Okay. As we go into the game, we have a pause. Great. Wouldn't be Dota without a pause at the start of the game. Both teams just making sure that they know what they're doing. Talking a little bit about lanes once again. It's actually, yeah, they're drawing.
Scribbling.
That's interesting. Okay, while we have some time, let's run through the lineups. We've got Sayla, the captain, on the Storm Spirit, heading to the middle lane. Hamza gonna play that Silencer. We'll see whether he manages to take over the teamfights later on in the game. Lil and Licious on the Dazzle. And Shingeki no Dota on the carry Lifestealer. Juggernaut probably heading to the offlane, played by Vilixen. On the other side of the river, we've got Rise of Aloha on the Shadow Shaman. FN playing the Drow Ranger. Inquisitor on the support Visage, Chomi. The Viper possibly heading mid. And Bignam on the offlane Batrider, so it's gonna be defensive tri-lane. Yeah. Batrider went boots first, so he should be fine. Although a Lifestealer with the open wounds, they can do some damage. If they so desire, but... Yeah, Juggernaut offlane, he should be fine as well, just because he has the ability to rely on the Blade Fury and the magic immunity that comes from that to get out of trouble. And that's something that you have to consider. There's two heroes that have a built-in BKB, basically, with the Juggernaut and the Lifestealer. And that is a big advantage later on in the game. Or in the mid-game, I should say. When someone like a Viper doesn't have a BKB yet, or Drow Ranger if she wants to build something like that. They will have these BKBs from the start, and that will give them an advantage in the early laning stage as well as in the team fights. See both teams angling for the rune. It's gonna spawn a top, that's the big question.
And here we go.
No. Gonna be an illusion rune spawning in the bottom lane, so I'm actually gonna go aggressive here, alright? That's something that I didn't consider, but they can sort of do it. It's probably not the best aggressive lane, because you don't have a whole lot of control. All you basically have is the slow coming out from the poison touch, but here nice D-ward coming out already. They do have some potential, simply because Dazzle allows them to be able to sustain their fights in here. Juggernaut can dish out a lot of early damage just by virtue of Blade Fury, and the Silencer can add some harass with the Curse of the Silent. Oh, on 2 heroes, yeah. And later on, if he skills the Glaives of Wisdom, he can dish out some decent damage of his own. But once again, there's not a whole lot of control. What's to stop Osliki Gaming from just running away from them if they don't feel that they can take the engagement? So, and yeah, compare that amount of control to a Shadow Shaman. He put the first point into the Ether Shock, so not a lot of control yet. But we'll see how this works out. They will need to make something happen because Osliki Gaming has the advantage of being able to pull and control the creep equilibrium as this pull camp was not blocked. So we'll see how that turns out. Middle lane, Stone Spirit holding his own, but you already see that he's taking quite some damage. Viper already level 3. Viper's a good hero that will usually win the lane, just because... Oh, as we see an engagement. Yep, they're gonna go on the Shadow Shaman. Blade Fury doing a lot of damage, and it's gonna be the first blood, and Ether Shock thrown out. Little Lish is a little bit dead, as the Soul Assumption from the level 2 Visage finishes him off. But first blood advantage going for to euphoria here in the top lane. And Dazzle only level 1 at that point. It didn't have the Shallow Grave to keep him alive, so something like that shouldn't happen again. If he's on top of his Shallow Grave, but gonna continue to be aggressive here. And that harassment Silencer, I mean, it's only level 1 Curse of the Silent, which doesn't do a whole lot, to be fair. But as soon as that hits level 2, it will start to drain the mana of these heroes. And Shadow Shaman, extremely mana dependent with his skills. Visage, quite mana dependent as well. I mean, right now he's sitting at 230. Mana is not enough for a combination. He can either throw the slow or a Soul Assumption. And this matchup here in the bottom lane, and the Lifestealer is having quite a hard time. He shouldn't die to the Bat Rider, but there's now 5 stacks sticky napalm on him, and that... Oh, he's actually going for it. Rage, open wounds. Shingeki going to do some damage, but there's 7 stacks now. These auto attacks just do so much damage, but with the tower up and running, no creeps around. Bignum might dive here. He's keeping out the napalm stacks, and that's actually gonna be a Lifestealer down.
Ruin at Radiant's bottom tower.
Very aggressive here, but Bignum just knows how to play the margins with this Lifestealer. Keeping away from the tower, keeping up the sticky napalm stacks.
Right now.
And if you get 3 or 4 stacks on you, that's just bad enough. But if you get 8 or 10 like that, you will just die. So very well played by Bignum down here. As we see the other caster disconnected. Yeah, Viper, as I mentioned, slight advantage in this middle lane, but Storm Spirit with the rune control and bottle crawling, he can get some CS. Just yeah, he's mixing overload, so he can pop a remnant, get some CS. So we've seen another engagement on top lane. Juggernaut really aggressive, and they will manage to pick up the Visage with the proc from the last word. Shallow Grave will keep Juggernaut alive, so just didn't have quite enough damage, even though the Shadow Shaman shackled him quite out of position. Silence actually disconnected. Let's hope it's not a big problem. Yeah, Euphoria, of course, an international team, so I'm not quite sure where all of them are coming from. Outside them, of course, they're coming from Europe. But yeah, let's go back to this bottom lane. Lifestealer not having the best time because of the constant spam of sticky napalm. I mean, he has his magic stick, so that helps out a little bit, but if you get a couple of stacks on him, then you, as a Bat Rider, if you get a couple of stacks on your melee opponent, then that guy can't go close to the lane, or else you'll just Firefly on top of him, right-click him, and dish out a lot of harassment damage. Lifesteal isn't really known for his big HP pool, so and that Stout Shield will only do so much. So Bignum very well ahead in this matchup. These supports might decide to rotate around at some point, as they're, I mean, they're doing okay in this top lane, but I mean, they picked up the Visage and the Shadow Shaman, and Drow Ranger has been untouched so far. She's getting decent CS. It's not like they're shutting her farm down massively. Hamza back into the game, so should be able to go on momentarily. We'll see whether they can make something happen on this top lane. Silencer doesn't have any cooldowns on mana though, but neither does Shadow Shaman. It doesn't have his Hex up as he's only level 2. Drow Ranger though can possibly throw a couple of these frost arrows, slow to silence it down for them, long enough for them to get a kill. And Juggernaut, the Shallow Grave will protect him, but it's probably not enough for him to go back in. He's salving up, so it's gonna be a couple of seconds. There, Hamza back, Frost Arrow, 1, 2, not quite enough slow on it just yet. He will be able to make it away, and Juggernaut now back in the lane. He's going into town, and another right click, and Shadow Shaman will take the fall.
My finest work.
Drow Ranger, not a whole lot you can do. Only 1 point in Frost Arrow is just not enough slow to be able to catch up to the Silencer in time. Especially since he's also already got boots up. As well as the rest of this tri lane, so that's really an advantage that they have. So if they get caught out, they have the possibility to get out of dodge. Viper in the meantime doing what it does.
Dire's top tower.
Sitting at 10 more CS
You know
in Stone Spirit, and he's not having a good time at all. He's got an Invis Rune, he's got Rune Control because Viper doesn't rely on bottles, or crowing, or bottles in general. Simply because, well, what kind of spells does he have? He only has the Orb Attack and it's just 20 mana, so he can spam on a lot of them. But he doesn't have any health regen, so he has to watch out for that. If Stone Spirit can get on top of him, get a couple of good right clicks in, together with the Remnants and the Vortex, then Viper might need to fall back. But he's already level 6, Stone Spirit just now cracked it, so sitting at a nice amount of mana, so, and he has an Invis Rune, so Viper might be in trouble in the near future, so we'll keep an eye on that. Lifestealer doing his best to keep up the CS. Drawing the creep aggro, doing shenanigans like that. Batrider is just not afraid at all. He's got Strength boots up and sitting at 1500 gold. It's gonna be a really early Blink Dagger, not even out of the jungle, so once he gets that, he will start making something happen on the map. As we see Euphoria rotating in on top lane, stealing this pull to some degree. What can they do to contest? The Juggernaut will, if they go in on them, the Juggernaut will just spin and do a lot of damage, and they might do that anyway, as the creeps are blocking Rise of Aloha in there.
Dire's
But they're not
top
going to pursue.
tower's getting beat down.
A little bit too chancy with the tower still standing. And yeah, Silencer, just look at that. One curse of the Silent, maybe a fifth of his health gone, and that is now a level 2 curse of the Silent. So, yeah, that doesn't damage him, as I mentioned earlier, it does take away some mana. Right, Stone Spirit popped an illusion rune, and he teleported to the bottom lane. They want to go on Batrider, and they do it. The teleport will be interrupted, and it's gonna be that Batrider flamed. Yep. Firefly. Not gonna help you in that situation if you got a Stone Spirit right on top of you, as well as the Lifestealer who's laying into you with open Moonsprout. So that was a much needed kill, both for Lifestealer and the Stone Spirit. Oh yeah, and there we go. Actually the right overlay. I keep forgetting to put that up, but now we should be able to see in the top right corner who I actually am. Top lane though, Juggernaut spinning, Drow Range is really low, and she will take out from the last word. Very nice kill here, just caught the tail end of that. And there we see Shadow Shaman trying to do something. That was enough for a heal, but not a whole lot else, and there's a bunch of creeps around him. Storm Spirit Illusion not gonna fool anyone, but Dazzle is in trouble, but he should be able to TP out if Aloha, I can't find him in time, so
You know the drill.
Euphoria with a distinct advantage, Viper rotating around, not being able to do a whole lot there, as he didn't manage to catch anyone. But he's working on his mech, finished up the treads now first though. Storm Spirit not sitting on a whole lot of gold, he's got a null talisman to help him out in his middle lane, but apart from that,
Double damage.
no sign of the Mortgage just yet. Or Bloodstone if he decides to build that. Bat Rider found himself a double damage zone. He's gonna take some farm. Might even find a Lifestealer, and he's all alone down here. Nope. Gonna miss each other as Lifestealer is going back into the lane. Got his open Venom up. Got the Bracer, so he's looking for the phase drums build. Pretty standard. Very good build as well, the race car build if you will. Gives you a lot of potential to chase enemies down, even after open wounds has expired. And of course phase boost gives you a decent amount of damage. And the drums also really cost efficient in terms of attributes. It's basically a little bit less gold than an ultimate orb, but for 9 stats. So Juggernaut, he's looking for the same build. Phase drums, also nice on him for the same reasons really. Gives him the ability to stay on top of people with the Blade Fury. Catch up to isolated targets to use the Omni Slash. Yeah, they're looking to engage, but
Radiant's bottom tower
defensive and aggressive Observer Ward sitting side by side. Ebony and Ivory, Dota style, they don't see each other, so... Oh, as we see the Viper picked up in the middle lane, solo kill by the Stone Spirit. So he's getting back into this game, expended all of his mana for that. A little bit weird that he was able to do that though.
The Dire might want to mine their top
See
tower.
another engagement on top lane. Juggernaut, he's gonna spin. Flow's not gonna do anything last word, and the Visage will be blown up. But counter engagement, Dazzle will take the fall with the lasso. Juggernaut taking a lot of damage now, shackled up, and he will take the fall. So 2-for-1 trade with a nice rotation coming out of the Bat Rider. And yeah, he's got this Blink Dagger, so that's what I mentioned earlier, and he's not done yet. Silencer, now in trouble. Taking Napalm 6, but he will be able to make it back to the safety of his own tower. Stone Spirit teleporting in to make sure of that.
Good absence of it.
Okay. Let's in the meantime taking the time to free farm. Almost goes drums up, needs another 500 gold or so. And Euphoria left behind an aggressive Observer Ward, so that's actually been there for quite some time. But yeah, that was the thing that enabled them to do that. But they didn't see the Bat Rider, they didn't see the blink, so once again, very nice rotation. Drow Ranger is doing well, going for the Mask of Madness build maybe? Pulling Glass Cannon. But yeah, she wants to be able to stay in the back of the fights. She's not a frontline hero by any means. Now farming up the safety of the jungle, but maybe it's not so safe as we see the Dazzle and Silencer smoked up. They're gonna find the Drow. Poison Touch, last word, Curse of the Silent, bunch of right clicks. Silence up, but only on the Dazzle, but she's just a little bit too fast with the Power Dreads. Only level 1 boots in these supports, but Viper with a Haste Rune, now looking to make something happen. Viper Strike onto Silencer, he's not long for the world. Dazzle has enough for a Shallow Grave, will use it. Now Viper might be in trouble. Level 1 Omni Slash, last word will ward him away, doing a lot of damage. But Silencer will fall in the end to the Drow Ranger actually. Now Bat Rider wants to make something happen. Healing Water, not making it easy. Giving them just enough time to get the hell out of dodge. Do they want to commit on Dazzle? No. Not enough health on either Drow or Viper to dive towers at this stage in the game. But Bat Rider caught out, but who's the one caught out? Well, the Bat Rider is, but the Juggernaut makes it a 2-for-1 trade in this river fight. Real nice game so far, a lot of action as we see another pause coming out. So Visage, quite poor looking for arcane boots, one would imagine. Shadow Shaman also not getting a whole lot. And yeah, Shadow Shaman is sitting below 1000 net worth. I mean, Dazzle, not far off. Neither is the Silencer, but still 12 minutes into the game. But we see the Bat Rider on top of net worth chart, and he's making things happen. That's what he needs to do. It's a little bit unfortunate that he died there, but if he keeps going up and keeps that ultimate on cooldown, then they will be able to get back into this game. Juggernaut even dying there. There's something on courier for him. Where is the courier? Ah, it's going for lifestealer. Yeah. Lifestealer got the drums of endurance up now. So if he decides to start rotating around, he can definitely do so. But he might just want to decide to put some pressure on this bottom tower as he's left to free farm down here since the battle line rotated out. So, look at that courier. What kind of courier is that? That's a cool one. A lot on stick. Nice, nice, nice. Alright. Viper not having his mechanism just yet. Just bottle crying a little bit.
Radiant's mid tower's coming apart.
Still a little bit off since he did concede a death. Silencer though got his ultimate ready. So that can be a big factor in these upcoming team fights. And yeah, Euphoria grouping up, smoking up with the Storm Spirit, and that's actually the whole team in here as the Lifestealer is infested into him. They're looking for someone. They're going to find the Shadow Shaman. There he is, blown up. He's doing what he can, but that's not a whole lot. Just an Ether Shock that doesn't do a whole lot of damage. That is inconsequential with the Dazzle in the lane.
Dire's got one last top tower.
Nice pick off, they get a tower, so... It's actually... yeah, they're drawing the line. They're gonna rotate down mid, and they might find the bat right out of position. He's looking for Silencer. He will grab him. Lasso is up. Silence up. Silencer will go down.
Radiant's bottom tower ain't a pretty sight.
And yeah,
right
Euphoria not willing to reciprocate here. And now
Trouble brewing at Radiant's
Osliki
bottom
Gaming
tower.
looking to put up some pressure on their own in this middle tier
Radiant
1.
structures must have been fortified.
Infest is not up for another 35 seconds, so... But Stone Spirit is sitting in the back lines, baiting out with the Lifestealer, and there's Aloha blown up once again. The Dazzle though will die, but the Viper will pay with his life for that kill. Now they're gonna look to go on the Dark Ranger. Open Wounds is up, Face Boots are up again, but they get the Bat Rod instead. Silence not gonna make it easy, but... And yeah. Dark Ranger, only level 8, but she's doing a lot of damage already. And Lifestealer, a little bit over aggressive there.
I know I should respect the
Takes the
dead,
fall.
but first you have to earn it.
Draw Ranger surprisingly fast, and she is going back for the Hand of Midas. So, Lifestealer didn't go Midas. So, actually going straight for the Skull Basher right about now, not wasting time with shitty things like armlets. Joking, a Fool's Armlet is an amazing item in Lifestealer, but Skull Basher is as well, so... Draw Ranger going back for Midas, so she'll be able to get ahead. Now they might just decide to tank up the tower, yeah, and they will take it out. So 2 towers to 1 as it stands right now. Let's take a look how that reflects on the gold graph. And yeah, Euphoria with the aggression and all the kills that they have, still in the lead with about 1,500 gold. The experience though, after that last engagement, went right back to the 0 line, down from a 2,500 advantage coming from Euphoria. So yeah, they're looking to use the potential that they have now in this mid game, with the Lifestealer having his basic amount of farm, with the Dazzle being really strong at this stage. Right around level 6 when he hits the weave. They want to capitalize on it, and yeah. Storm Spirit infested once again. They're looking to check the jungle, but they're not going to find anyone. But the Bad Rider will find Lasso on Silencer once, on a Dazzle, sorry. Once again, so... One thing you can't do with Dazzle is being caught out of position, because then you can't get any of his spells off. They might go for Roshan here. Yep, they are. Taking advantage, take the weave out of the equation. Which makes it much safer to go for Roshan with Familiars up. With Precision Aura, if she wants to use that, that will benefit Familiars. Yep. Actually, it's benefiting anyhow, okay. Roshan will take the fall. Euphoria is none the wiser on Pipe Illusions, scouting out this entrance here anyway, so... Osliki Gaming, capitalizing on the bad positioning from the Dazzle and recognizing that this is a good chance to get a Roshan. And now they're pretty much ahead, I would say. Oh my god. I mixed up the XP and gold drops earlier. Alright, so... What did I? I'm not quite sure. But anyway. Gold are now in favor of Osliki Gaming, squarely in favor of them. Sitting about 2000. And now the XP line going back to 0. Lifesteal and Storms were not able to find an infest gank in this jungle, and that really cost them. They might find someone now. Drawing just rotating up top. But Visage is there to help them out. Yeah, one nice thing that you have if you get a Drow Ranger or Lycanthrope, or even a Luna on the team, is that the damage auras are working on familiars. So, I would think so. It did earlier. I'm not. Yeah. Basically, whenever Drow Ranger uses the precision aura, the active part, then these familiars will benefit from that as well. So, it means they hit harder, even without the charges all up. So if you don't keep that in the back of your mind and ignore the familiars, then they can kill you. I've seen that in the past in various different games. Invisibility rune picked up by the Battery. His lasso is up. So if he wants to go for a gank, he can definitely do so, but there's not a whole lot of support in the area. He's got a 4-star up too, so basically got everything he wanted. Viper with the Mac finish, and he's the Aegis carrier, so can sleep a little bit more comfortably. Lifestealer, he picked up the Basher recipe earlier, but apart from that, still missing a couple of components. Radiant's courier died somewhere. That's not what you want to have happen. And yeah, Euphoria. Oh no. I was just gonna say, taking the foot off the gas, but that's not true at all. Stormsword, yep, Serpent Waltz. And the Batrider getting the Lifestealer back into the Serpent Waltz, so he will take the fall. That Batrider, Big Nim, is just on top of his game. He's finding the pickups that he needs, the really important pickups too, and he's not even done yet. Stormsword out of mana, he can't step away. But TP reactions coming in. Can I get a counter kill? Nope. Batrider just a little bit too fast with this mobility build that he went. So yeah, Bignum on top of his game, he knows what he's doing. Finding the good pickups, not just random pickups on supports, but getting the lifesteal there in that situation. It was a little bit ballsy of Storm to begin with, even though they had an observer ward there. They ran into like 3 people. Even with lifesteal infested into him, that's not the best idea. Even though he got the Orchid up.
Haste.
Meantime, Viper's farming. Batrider's farming. Drow Ranger is farming. Drow Ranger now sitting on top of the net worth. And a big part of that, of course, is the Midas, so... Finish your Shadowblade. It's casual mode, but mask for quite some time now. You can turn it into Helm of the Dominator, but more common is the Mask of Madness build. Simply because it gives you extreme ability whenever you pop it. But on the other hand, the Shadowblade does that already for you, so... But yeah, that's the Mask of Madness, as well as a Wraith Band finish. Now Euphoria. A little bit stumped in their efforts. They wanted to be aggressive, and it worked early on, but now Osliki Gaming stabilized, and on the back of some good play of the Batrider, as I mentioned before.
Radiant's top tower.
Viper's also to some degree. He was able to pick up some people. And yeah, we see 3 bursts of Visage going zagging himself out of all of that, so he's gonna be just fine. And now in this stage of the game, Osliki stopped the bleeding, did this early aggression with the aggressive tri-lane put on them, managed to catch up quite well. That rather laying down Fire Flame to just slow down his push a little bit, but that's a big creep wave.
Bottom tower's getting the business. Radiant's top tower's taking
If you have Batrider on the team, able to prepare defenses, even the biggest creep wave will die. And yeah, just gonna TP out. Go back to lane, farm up, catch up. It's gonna be hard to catch up with the Drow Ranger. She's getting further and further ahead, and now the Viper. Sitting on number 2. He still has the Aegis. He's working on Zaganum's, about 700 gold away from it too. Once he gets that, then Osliki Gaming can basically take any teamfight they want. Because the 12-second cooldown on the Viper Strike is just devastating to heroes like Lifestealer. It really depends on the rage and the mobility that he has during the rage. And the magic immunity to be able to dish out his damage, but if you put a Viper Strike onto him,
mid-tower could use a little help.
then he will be slowed even through his rage, through his magic immunity, and you can just kite him, wait out his rage, and then focus on later on. And the same goes for Juggernaut to some extent. I mean, he can still do some damage if he finds a good Omni Slash. But this magic immunity, pretty much countered by the Viper. As soon as he got his Aghanims, and that's right about now, and the courier is flying out. Osliki Gaming, in a really good shape. Dazzle, really far behind right now. I mean, he's got an Earn Up and the Arcane Boots, so in terms of mana and items he's fine. He doesn't need a whole lot. But what in terms of gold? But he needs levels. He needs a lot of levels. And he doesn't have that. He's sitting at level 8 compared to level 14s of all the 3 cores on the side of Osliki Gaming. So Dazzle is basically just food at this point. Silencer. Also not known for being tanky.
At Radiant's bottom tower.
Yeah, Visage. Being annoying with his familiars doing the split push. Gonna look to pick them up, and yeah. Storm Spirit, long jump, but he expended half of his mana and not finding anything. So Visage resummons, but I think he fed one of them. Can't be quite sure. Let's watch the Storm Spirit zip up into nothingness. But Osliki Gaming, asserting the map dominance. Aggressive Observer Watch down in the jungle, and they saw the Storm Spirit and they're gonna go on him. But he has enough mana to be able to get away.
Where's the party?
Batrider not gonna catch him with the lasso, but they're gonna turn this into a push, so they have no problems with that whatsoever. And in the meantime, Drow Ranger is just pushing the top lane to her heart's content. She's level 15 now, looking for a BKB. She picked up the Ogre Axe. Just some rapid item development on her. Yeah, what can they really do to her? Nothing. If the Juggernaut goes on her, he doesn't have any detection, so Drow Ranger will just use the Shadow Blade and be just fine. There's silence though.
There goes Radiant's bottom
But the tower already fallen thanks to the Serpent Wards. Maybe they did that just to be able to get away, and if so, well, wasted ultimate.
Radiant's top tower's in bad shape.
And yeah, Silence, as good as that ultimate is, it's only really good in certain situations. And if you play Silencer, you have to be really good at recognizing those situations. So basically right after you go in, right after you initiate, or right after they initiate on you and you want to be able to counter initiate, those are usually the best times you want to pop the global silence. Juggernaut on a hunt, Storm Spirit, and they will find Shadow Shaman, the Weave, going out on pretty much the whole team. Omni Slash doing good damage, Batrider will take the fall. The poison take? No. Not quite able to take him out, Bat. And yeah. Oh, Osliki Gaming actually takes it. And they will get the Juggernaut, not able to TP out in time. Lifestealer. Not long for the world either. It's probably the best engagement angle that Euphoria could have hoped for, but they lose 4 and they only get the Shadow Shaman out of it.
Someone's dropped out like a kid in school.
Shadow Shaman didn't even have the Serpent Ward, so not a big loss in that team fight, and Osliki Gaming able to capitalize on that. Storm Spirit though, looking for an opening, looking for someone who's a little bit more isolated, and both the Visage and the Viper were quite low, but
Radiant's gone and
the Drow Ranger in the field, they can dish out really loads of damage if the Storm Spirit decides to hang around for a little bit. He wisely decides to not commit on anything. Just trying to slow down the push, but this TO2 tower is already at half health. just because of the Dragon Ranger banging on him. And she's level 16, so if you don't get right on top of her, he's doing a lot of damage and has a lot of attack speed.
Mid-towers getting
Yeah, look at the
banged
tower melt.
up. Radiant's mid-towers in trouble.
Euphoria really in trouble right now. What they need to do is maybe look for some more opportunities to gank, but Osliki Gaming is doing a really good job of keeping together and scouting out with those aggressive observer wards. So the Storm Spirit doesn't really have the option to get on top of someone. At least not as often as you would like. As soon as Osliki recognizes that there's probably a lifesteal inside a storm, because there's nowhere else to be found on the map, then they'll just back off, group up, so that there are no appetizing targets to find. Item development. Lifestealer, finish the Skullbasher. Gone back for a Yasha. Maybe for Sanjin Yasha. Yeah. 3-man smoke, but I don't know what they aim to do with it. Not gonna find anyone. Might find the birds, but
There is no dishonor in regeneration.
smoking birds. Not really the best use. Juggernaut with the Shadow Blades going out, but once again, Osliki Gaming playing very safe. They're recognizing that everyone's missing from the map, so Draw Ranger just hiding in a tree line, and the rest of the team grouping up. Actually gonna sneak a Roche here and with the Servant Lords. Don't have any minus armor to speak of though, so this is gonna take a while unless the Draw Ranger comes in. Or the Viper. Yeah. Oh, Draw Ranger, BKB, TP, and no Lucky Bash. She'll be able to get away. And yeah,
Dia took down old Roche.
really nice game sense from Osliki. Figuring, hey, there's just one guy top, but the rest are probably baiting. They're far away from the Roche, but all the tier 1s and tier 2s are down except for the top lane, so there was no way for Euphoria to contest that Roche. Another big advantage going the way of OSG. Storm Spirit will not get caught out, but he took a lot of damage just from the Visage and Viper. So yeah, now look at the gold graph, and wow, that's a big swing. 14,000 gold. That's about 12,000 experience in favor of Osliki Gaming, and they're looking really good.
Dire's top tower, you know the drill.
I wouldn't say that Euphoria is out of it, not by any means, but they pretty much would rely on Osliki Game. What? Where did the Draw Ranger die? I missed that completely, sorry about that. Didn't even hear any sound of that.
Illusion!
But yeah. Euphoria basically has to wait for mistakes like that, positioning errors from Osliki Gaming, and try and capitalize on that, and they definitely have the ability to do that. We find an isolated target with the Juggernaut. He's got his ultimate up, not quite level 16, but he still has enough jumps to do some serious damage to isolated targets, so he's able to pick people off. Not to mention the Storm Spirit and the Lifestealer together. It's always going to be potent against singular heroes, but in a team fight, they don't really have too much control available to them at this stage. I mean, you have the Orchid with the Storm Spirit, but the effectiveness of that is starting to peter off. With the Juggernaut, who does a lot of damage and is sort of magic immune, but not against the Viper Strike, so he's not as effective as he would be against other lineups. Yeah, Storm Spirit far away from the hacks. It's actually going BKB.
Guess what's happening to Dire's bottom tower?
On the other side, you have the Bat Rider, you have the Visage
structure's
Birds,
looking
you have here Software, you have the Slow and the Silence coming out from the Draw Ranger. They have so many ways to be able to control these team fights that engaging into a full 5-on-5 is a really chancy proposition for Euphoria. As we saw in one of these fights early on this river, and they're gonna find the Silencer once again, and he will be blown up. Bat Rider Dragon close to the Dragon Ranger, so didn't die as quickly as it could have, but just a second or so. Ultimately meaningless. Oh, there we see Dragon Ranger, but the Viper is right there. Viper Strike on the Storm Spirit, and he's in a lot of trouble. Flame Break though will get him a little bit further away actually. And Viper just used the Viper Strike on the Stormspeed, and now it's already up again. So if they re-engaged there with the lifesteal, he would have been carried around and killed. And yeah, Viper Strike on the Dazzle. Last auto attack from the Dragon Ranger will ensure the kill.
Such as tomorrow.
I mean, Dazzle would have been able to get away if he wasn't slowed by the Viper Strike. I mean, he basically used the Shallow Grave right here, and by the time he died, he got about that far. So another Viper Strike on the Juggernaut this time around, and also the Bat Rider lassos. The Global Silence comes out. Mechanism and Ghost Scepter will keep them alive. Juggernaut ulti not doing nearly as much now. He's in a lot of trouble. Able to spin away though.
Best do something about that bottom tower.
But Bat Rider not done yet. He's going in balls deep. He might die from the last word, but no, he shouldn't actually.
Getting the what for?
Viper really low, but he is the Aegis, so he doesn't care. He probably just want to, wants to tank the tier 4s. Get back into the fight with full health and full mana. Isn't that Aegis nice? So that's mid-racks down.
Radiant's top tower.
And probably not gonna stop there. Yeah. Sailor being caught out, silenced up. Dragon Ranger taking a lot of damage, and Juggernaut will be able to pick her off.
Tower's in bad shape.
There's a dominating streak for 621 gold, but Viper is still around. As well as the Visage, they will be able to pick him up. They're not done. Viper Strike just proving to be a bane of Euphoria's existence. That's gonna be a team wipe. Last word. Not gonna do enough. And yeah. Lifesteal and Dazzle back up. Lifesteal going on the Viper, but don't want to do that. Mechanism is up. There's the Weave though. That could help. Infest and Visage will take the no.
6 in a row.
Viper just has no fear. Neither has Inquisitor on the Visage. But yeah, he should really not tank the tower anymore. He doesn't have the Aegis anymore. Dude, you don't have the Aegis, and you still don't have the effective Weave. Yeah. Maybe you should get the hell out of there.
Tower ain't a pretty sight right now.
Last attack! Almost got him. Now they're gonna finally TP away.
Radiant's bottom tower's seen better days.
Bat Rider though is back.
Tower's done
He
for.
took out the tower in the meantime. Creeps are cleaning out the base. Are they gonna go on the Bat Rider? Yep. Wards are up, but Lucky Bash and the Shadow Shaman, but the Hex comes out anyway. Now the Omni Slash will be able to... Yeah. That was enough together with the Stormspeed initiating in to clean up both the Bat Rider and the Shadow Shaman. So these bottom ranks will stand for a little bit longer. That was a 2-on-5 that they were able to win, and Lifesteal almost died anyway. So... And yeah, just take a look at the net worth. 4 heroes in Visage as well now. Basically a core. Got a Hex, got an Aghanims, got a Ghost Scepter if the lifesteal goes on him, so... He's having a lot of fun in this game. Almost level 16, so level 3 birds inbound. Oh, look at that. Double damage rune. Who will find it first? Maybe the Viper? Maybe the Drow Ranger, and Drow Ranger picking up a double damage. Hitting for about 525 then. Oh, Stormspear though has other plans. BKB is used and the Gush on 4, but Shadowblade will be able to keep it away as they brought no detection whatsoever on any of these heroes. That's a blunder. Yeah, they had dust, but it was on cooldown. Maybe they did use it and Drow Ranger BKB'd it off in that case. Should have brought a Sentry Ward. Blah 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 blah. Criticizing. But yeah.
It was
Whoa.
worth it. How came I here?
Juggernaut actually managing to chase her as she was a little bit greedy in the jungle there. Shadowblade paying dividends, but might pay with his life with the Viper Strike, and Chomi picked up the double damage rune, so not quite sure if that was worth it, but the immediate rage buyback of the Drow Ranger. If they don't get any more done with her now, then this buyback will be wasted. But they're looking to make something happen. But yeah, Euphoria knows something's up. Retreating back into their base.
Radiant's bottom racks, it's hurting.
But yeah, that is so obnoxious. these familiars with the precision aura,
Done. Guess what's happening to Dyer's
that's
bottom
another thing that I
tower?
haven't considered before. They're just able to backdoor on, not even backdoor the barracks down there, just when the creeps are pushing into the base, because that will disable the backdoor region. So yeah, and at this point 2 racks down, it's all over but the crying. Take a last look at the gold graph, sitting at just below 20,000 gold, and sitting right about 15,000 experience for Osliki Gaming. So desperation smoke coming out, and do we want to smoke for Roche? I don't know why someone would drop that immediate Shadow Blade. And yeah, Roche just now respawned, but silence on Storm Spirit. BKB needs to be used to get himself out of the way. That's another BKB charge down. It's now sitting on 8. Silence coming out. Batrider dragging the Storm Spirit out, and oh, might be able to get away. Yeah, he'll actually survive, but the Dazzle probably not so lucky. He will be blown up immediately. 4 staffs galore on this team. Lifestealer not long for the wall. Man-moding Drow Ranger, but with the rest of the team around her, she will be just fine. Omni-Slash, but the entire team is here as well as the birds. So it's not doing a whole lot.
2 down.
And there's the GG. Well played.
Hardly knew you.
Osliki Gaming
Looks like we lost one.
taking this game number 2 and the first game at a different date. So taking the entire series 2-0, which puts them at 8 and 6 in the standings. Euphoria not gonna be happy sitting at 4 and 8 of their own. So really nice game, lots of action, aggressive stance in the early game from Euphoria, but Osliki Gaming with some nice plays from the Batrider, as well as the Drow Ranger and the Viper, and the Visage, of course. I mean, just having the presence of mind to keep your familiars down in the bottom lane and putting pressure on the racks down there. So yeah, Osliki Gaming with a lot of good control in general. Even though Shadow Shaman died a lot, he was the space creator in this game. I think that's fair to say. But Euphoria not being able to capitalize on the damage and then suffering from the lack of control in teamfights. So yeah, I will probably... What? As the game crashes, alright. Thanks for watching. I will come back later this evening to cast another series in Division 1 between CNB Esports Club and the Wild Witch Doctors, which is Ike's Mike's team in the American Division 1. So I'm looking forward to that. I hope you are too, and you're tuning back in. It's gonna be on 2300, if I'm not mistaken, yeah. Basically 11 o'clock Central European time, which is pretty much exactly 4 hours from now. So looking forward to see you there, but for now, it's dragondrop signing off.